puts them all in one location, so it makes it a lot easier for him to do his care for the bees. Um, right here, obviously you want to put your bees near a meadow, and the reason you'd want to do something like that is because of their food source. You don't want them to have to travel super far for every piece of food they get. Not saying that they won't travel very far because they want to. Um, uh, in my beehive is right on the edge of woods, so I have a little man-made tractor dug hole that fills with water because I have clay-based ground. So I have little mud holes, so the bees love to have that water source right there next to them available. And water is honestly one of the top things that I think people overlook, including myself when I first started doing bees, was because uh, they love pools, which is kind of annoying for people who have pools. The chlorine, the acidity of the water, they love it, which is not always good for them. Um, but when I thought of bees, I just thought of like the food sources. I truly never thought that they're gonna need a water source by them. Luckily, I have a lake that they can get water from as well. But since I put that mud hole right next to the water hole, it's pretty much a mud hole, right next to where I store their hives, it seems like that's been helping a lot. So they don't have to travel as far for the water. So um, bees also, I've done 2 hive removals so far in my life, in my 3 or 4 years of doing bees, where one of them was in an old barn wall. So we had to take off all the plywood and um, get the comb out. It was a pretty cool experience because when we did this, we found, I bet you the comb was 6 to 8 foot tall in multiple sections of the wall. So that was pretty cool and is a kind of nerve-wracking experience because you were getting them out of that location, which they don't want to leave. So what we did is actually we had a vacuum and we sucked up as many as we could. And then once we removed all the comb and the honey, we put it in a box and then we transferred it into another box so we could try to rehome them, which we later found out we apparently did not get the queen because of that. In a space like that, it's super hard to find out if you got her because you're moving stuff in and out of the box. If you pull her out of a piece of comb and she doesn't like it, she could fly right back. Generally speaking, if you're doing a removal and are successful at removing the queen, when you move her into the box or whatever you're storing the bees in, there's a very strong chance that many of the bees from the hive itself will leave to go into the box or whatever you're transporting her into because they want to be by her to protect her. So wherever there's little holes in a building or a structure, bees can go in and make a hive. Um, they, I don't know where they won't make a hive. If there's anywhere that's protected from the weather, and they feel like they can get in there and make a hive and make a home, they're gonna do it. And uh, the first one that we removed, I think it was 2.5 years ago. We got completely everything out. We cleaned the whole space. We thought we made sure it was sealed back up. We vacuumed every piece of wax and everything uh, out of the out of the location. And then last year, the homeowner called me and said, "Guys, I had bees again." So we don't know if it was the same queen that maybe we missed that she just rebuilt, um, or if another one found that location, and since it was such a good location, they moved in right along with them and started another uh, hive right there in the same spot, which was kind of cool for us because then we got a 2 for 1. So, all right. This is just a picture of the habitat. So, like the picture on the top was obviously up in someone's eaves, um, and they can run a long stretch for a long way. So, if it looks like you have a hive, right at the end of your eaves, they could be up into your roof a long stretch of a way. So, when you do removals, you also have to think about how you're gonna put everything back and make sure it was sealed up and everything. And then the picture on the bottom right is just an image of a honeybee gathering pollen from a flower. And I'm not sure what type of flower it is, but all right. On this slide, I just kind of added some of these. Lisa added them. I gathered some of the information. Some of this is just things that honey and bees can do for you and your family. It's not just honey. There's a lot of things that that bees make that you can use, such as the wax you can make into wax rounds on cheese, furniture, wax, hair products, candles, antibacterial components. Lip balm is huge. I know. Um, I use Burt's Bees, I think is what it's called. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard of Burt's Bees before, and that's what I've known of forever. And whenever you remove honey, you'll have copious amounts of wax left over, and sometimes you'll leave it for the bees to rebuild on it. But other times, if you have a lot, you can remove it and use it for such as things like candles and like we said, candles, lip balms, those other fun products. All right. So this is an image I got, and I just captured this image because this is simply when I think of honey, was a little honey stick. That's what that is on the left. Is a honey stick. It just makes me think of honey. I know it is honey, but like this is a quintessential picture for me and honey. Like a big old jar or a or a honey pot that you can just put that honey stick in and just get your honey out. A honey stick is an awesome way because it kind of cleans itself out when you spin it out. But Lisa and I were talking today. When we use honey for things, we almost don't like to pour it into a measuring container before we use it. And the reason for that is because honey is so sticky that it just makes more work. So whenever we do stuff, we both talked about today that we just both guesstimate when we're using honey because of this has such sticky properties.
David,
Yep.
so I just wonder, like, when you get honey from the honeycombs, do you have to, how do you, when you harvest it, can you talk a little bit about that on your next screen here of how you do that? I know you said you were on your last jar and you have to get more, and how long does that process take?
Yep. So when you extract your honey, we have an extractor where if you have 10 frame boxes, you'll take your frames out, you'll stick it in the extractor, which is there's many different styles. There's some that are called gravity extractors. I have the spinning extractor. You'll load that honey frame into the extractor, and then you'll spin it out. So the first time I did it, I was spinning and spinning, and I thought, man, I don't even think any of this is coming out. But then if you looked into the barrel while you're spinning it, it looks like a spider web was coming out because it literally just spins it right out of the comb, and it leaves the comb intact. So it's nice because uh, the bees, if you give them that comb back, they don't have to rebuild that before they can fill it with honey. So that's always a benefit. Um, the image I have here is actually an image of the raw honey. So someone cut this out, so bees would not get anything back from this, which is fine. And I know some people love to buy raw honey like this because one is the nostalgia, and two is it's just fun to look at. I mean, I think it's sweet. Um, so I'm gonna go over the extractors in next session's class. I'll make sure I get some more information and take pictures of all the extractor stuff. So we'll go over that. So right now would not be a time to get honey because of the time of year. So you normally extract honey. Depends on how your hive is doing. If your hive is doing super good, you might be able to get honey twice in 1 year. Um, but you normally don't do it anytime there are cold months because they need that honey for their food. So if I was to go out and remove honey from my bees right now, I would very much dampen their chance of surviving the winter. So I would not want to do that.
Hmm.
Does that answer your question, Lisa?
Yes, thank you.
So what we have here is just a simple thing for honey cookies. We're just trying to identify and show like the multitude of ways that you can use honey and what bees can help. So this is just a honey cookie. I don't know if anybody's ever made honey cookies. I have made honey cookies and I love them. Obviously, it's pretty much just like a sugar cookie, but we just try to throw out another way, like since it is the season of baking, that just another option for someone to use honey. All right. So Lisa went out and grabbed a recipe for honey cookies. I originally did not grab the recipe because I didn't know if anybody was interested. But so Lisa went out and grabbed the recipe. They're pretty simple. They're pretty simple cookies to make. I'm not gonna go over and read the instructions and everything, but if you're ever interested in a honey cookie, try them out. They're really yummy. Then again, which cookies aren't yummy? But it's just another fun experience to use honey. All right. And Lisa also included the tips for making honey cookies. Um, like you said, what's cool about recipes like this? Say you make it and you say, "Well, I didn't think I tasted honey that much." Just like any recipe, make it to what you like. If you want some a little bit extra honey in there, throw it in there. Give it a shot. That's what I love about doing stuff with bees too. Is like it's such a learning experience. Every time you do something, like extracting the honey. I've done it 2 times now, 2 full times, and every time I do it, I learn something different about how I want to do it, or um, what makes the process easier, or even cleanup. I use stainless steel items because obviously it cleans easy and it um, stays clean, and it is good for food grade items. But every time I do it, I try to learn something new. So
And this one I can talk about, David. David had made the honey cookies and wanted to mention those, but Energy Bites, I probably make these once a week for my family and store them in the fridge. And I just use a cookie scoop. I don't even you put them in the refrigerator to roll them. I use a cookie scoop after I get them mixed all together, 5 ingredients. You don't bake them, plop them on wax paper, and then put them in a container in the fridge. And just for a snack, they're amazing. I like David was saying, I just pour my honey in and kind of judge it, but they're really good. So just wanted to share that recipe with you guys.
And to add to that, we also make one in my house because I have a type 1 diabetic son. So he does. We don't normally add the semi-sweet chocolate chips, but the honey is enough sweetness to it as well. And they're pretty healthy for you. You don't have to add tons of sugars or tons of anything with the honey, because the honey can be the sweetener enough. Uh, like Lisa said, literally you don't need extra work. You don't need to get lots of stuff ready for them. You don't have to roll them, like she said. That's what we do too. We just put them out on a scoop, put them in the fridge or the freezer. They chill up, and then they're good to go. So it's really nice and easy. All right. So this one, I had to throw in there. I'm not supporting this brand of mead, however, is honey mead. So I love honey mead. It's one of my favorite drinks that I do not drink very often, but I do like it a lot. And I get it at Horrocks. And I know several people, at least, said, I noticed on the back of this picture there is ice cream. Yes, I know several people. I am not one because I don't really enjoy ice cream, but they'll pour a little honey mead right over their ice cream, and I know that it tastes amazing. I've done it with like other liqueurs, which I'm not supporting people to just go out and drink. Of course, that's not my business. But honey mead is really good. It's not that cheap, but it's always, I don't know. I like to do new stuff and try new stuff, and it's just fun.
And they had that at Horrocks.
Yep, yep. And I also found it at Mega Bev.
Okay.
And what we have image here is just you know, what the real raw form of the wax would be, and people use it for lip balm. Also, if you're ever dealing with this, if you did have bees and you have wax, and when you're done, your hands feel like the smoothest thing you could ever feel. Like way more than lotions. I don't know why, but to me, the wax on your hands, I don't know if it's because your hands heated up and like let it melt a little bit in your hands, but my hands always feel like butter right after I'm done, and so soft and gentle. Um, and then, all right, so I know I spoke faster than I probably should have, which is my MO for everything when I get excited. Um, does anybody have any questions?
I just wanted you to talk a little bit while we have people on about the what the goal of our group is of having the bee club, if you could, for you and Adam.
Yeah. The goal for this is Adam and I, like I said, we said this a whole bunch of times, and hopefully the people that are on have been on in the last couple. Is we're pretty new to this as well, to beekeeping. We are not experts. We're trying to just grow our group and grow people's knowledge of bees, because even if you decide, bees aren't really for me, but I would like to help and keep bees, or not keep bees, to support bees, I should say. There's things that you can do, such as planting flowers, or maybe if you have a patch of alfalfa or clovers that you don't always use, to not mow it. And because if you do that and you're a gardener, it'll guarantee bees help your garden grow better and produce more. Um, and we just want to grow this group. We have the intentions just to learn from each other. Like Adam and I are kind of leading the way as far as telling and showing people what we've done to this point, but we want to grow too. So if you guys have topics or things you want to talk about, or things you already know, then feel free to jump in and add on. Or if I misspeak, please correct me. Like I know I'm not perfect at all, especially in this topic. I'm learning. I enjoy it. Adam and I both love working with bees and talking about bees. So we wanted to bring this as a group. So if people have the same common interests as us, say you have bees and you say, well, David, I don't have an extractor. Well, Adam and I both have an extractor. We could work something out so we could work with you, or teach you, or just do it together, because more hands make light work. And when you extract your honey, it does take time. It's not just a quick jump on, jump off thing and you're done with it. It does take time, but um, it's worth it. Like Adam and I both said in our past, we both have our kids involved with this, and to me, anything I can have my kids involved with is a bonus. Like, I get a benefit out of it, and my kids want to do it with me. So if my kids are happy, then I'm more than happy. So, um, like I said, we wanted this group to be able to be veterans or first responders or family of veterans or first responders, just so we have everybody around. So if you have questions, we want to be able to help if we can. And if not, hopefully we have enough people here that we could point you to the person who might know. Does anybody have any questions?
I think that's such a good point. I mean, this is the camaraderie of just raising bees together. And I mean, it's a farming implementation, really, of farming and trying to produce bees. So we have our food pollinated, so we have food, and there's such a shortage on bees now. So there's so many different avenues for the camaraderie and just for the piece of keeping bees and the things that you guys talk about with them and your passion for it. And I know there's many people that have this passion. So thank you guys so much for, doing it only for 3 or 4 years and still feeling new, but wanting to learn and teach others at the same time. So we really appreciate that. The two things I wanted to talk about is that we've been told that some of our attendees have a lot of meetings on Wednesdays, and it's kind of a difficult day. So we're talking about having our monthly meeting, but having it on the first Friday for the new year, starting the first Friday of every month and having it then. And our first Friday actually would be January 1st. So we would actually start on February 5th and move it to Friday, where more people can attend because of DLA meetings mostly are on Wednesdays, so it's not a conducive day. And IT has told us that DCS cooperates a lot better when it's not utilized as much. And with all the meetings on Wednesdays, we would probably have better luck in accessing DCS for that as well. So if anyone isn't on my All in B Club, I send out reminders and send out any information that Adam and David would share. Please just send me your email so I can add you. I know some people are on the phone, and I will send just my email is lisa.grenon@dla.mil, and it's lisa.grenon@dla.mil. And just send me a quick email, and so I can add you to our list for our club, and you can get all the information about when we have them. But thank you so much, David. We really appreciate it. And thank you guys for joining us today, and have a great day. And thank you for your interest in bees.
And one more thing, if we could, if you guys, I know it's harder when you don't see people in the building, but we all have our close friends that we work with. If you think they're interested, please feel free to, even if they haven't been on the meetings yet, please feel free to invite them and then send them our way, because the more the merrier.
Absolutely. Have a great day, everyone, and happy holidays to you.